All right, and we're back on another episode of Salient Points. This one's 120 for September 12th, 2023. I'm Carlos Macias, the master of what, Dalan?
The master of rest and relaxation.
Rest and relaxation. I feel like I need a vacation from the vacation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do so much crap. You do so much stuff. I literally had like 2 or 3 days of actual, like, I'm asleep in. I'm like, damn, okay. But that's what it is. I was in Hawaii. I'm glad to be back. Like I said off wax, I miss all of you, every single one of you. Dalan, much less so, of course. But look, every week you push it, Dalan, you push it. I feel like I don't want to keep recording with this man, but it's okay. We're back. It's all right. I miss you guys.
Took a vacation.
I took a vacation from him. Maybe that's what I needed to get the juices flowing again. Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountains. Thank you for joining us, sir. How you been, Dalan?
I'm just getting hit up. Apparently, I've just been an irritating gnat on every's shoulders.
Not everyone. The rest of the gang. The rest of the gang likes you, man. I like you too. Just like at a 62% of 100%. All right.
That sounds real low.
I feel like that's passing, dude. That's a passing. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this because my child just started high school like a couple weeks ago. They don't give out D's anymore. They do A, B, C, and F. So, and they widen the C range. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? But whatever it is.
Does that mean I'm getting an F? I got an F on your scale.
No, you didn't listen. They widened the C. So you're in the C category because they widened it's a 60 to 70 or like a 55 to 70 or something like that, something wacky. But Deo Blast, the most accomplished. Actually, no, I think Deo and Luis are both the most accomplished on this podcast. You guys actually have like degrees and stuff. Deo Blast from up in the Mid Bay. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you. I thought that ABCD business. I thought it was a D's nuts joke. I thought you were joking.
Oh no! We keep it family friendly. We push it though. I guess we push it.
I say, fuck no, we don't keep this shit family.
Right? I thought you were gonna say C's get degrees. I thought that's what you're gonna say. C's get degrees. Luis Mendez on the Wheels of Steel. Thank you for joining us, sir, as well. We're back.
I have an art degree. But,
there you go.
I guess it was good enough or something. Also, I feel like I just got back from Hawaii too.
Oh, okay.
From Kauai.
Okay, nice.
Because the group chat was blown up with like your every movement. So I saw everything.
That's right. I actually, so I don't know if I've said it on wax, but I'm horrible at vacationing, man. I'm not good. I'm like, I still check Twitter. I still check like emails. Don't tell my boss that because he sent me some shit. I'm like, I didn't see that. I'm on vacation. But other than that, I'm really terrible. But the thing is, it's really easy, man. You snap a picture, send it in the chat. Don't look for hours later. Kind of like when Deo, I don't know if you said it on wax. I'm hopefully not doxing you, Deo. But you've one time said that on Twitter, you throw in something controversial before a big meeting. And then once you get out of the meeting, you're like, okay, this is what happened. This is what I wrote.
I definitely do love doing that.
So that's me on vacation, man. I'm like, let me shoot these random things, blah, blah, blah. We'll see if they react. I'll check days later, hours later to see how they reacted. But hey, look, we're back on the podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. We're getting some fans, so I'm kind of like, damn, maybe we're building momentum, and then we were off for 3 weeks. But we did have on YouTube, click the bell. Is that the thing? Is the bell a thing or something? Click the bell, subscribe, I don't know, whatever it's called. Thumbs up, subscribe, whatever. You're going to get on this podcast, all right?
Click the bell for notifications.
Is that what it is? Okay. Ali Demir Ermi, he says, this is my new program for listening while playing games and chilling. Keep it up. Happy face. See, there you go, Ali. Thank you for listening to us here. Dalan, any shout-outs to this man?
Ali, we just always appreciate new fans. Just tell everybody. Tell everybody we exist.
Tell everyone you know, please. Luis, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, Ali, appreciate it, but on behalf of Salient Points, I want to apologize for right after you comment this going on a 3-week vacation hiatus.
I know.
Of like, oh, whoops. So hopefully you're still around.
I know, that's what I was saying, right?
Because we didn't say anything on YouTube about this either, so maybe he's just
like, I did comment on him and Jed as well. We have a comment from Jed as well. I think I put like, hey, thanks. We'll shout you out when we come back. I think. I don't know.
Well, Carlos, I'm going to hit you up right now. Next time, put it on the site.
All right, there we go. Hey, Jet, as well, Jet has been around for a little while. He says, Quote, I do love Final Fantasy X. Not on the Vita because I've never owned the Vita. I bought it on PS2, PS3, PS4, and Switch. But yes, my first games I ever played were the OG FF, the OG Super Mario Brothers, and the OG Mega Man. That's a lot of OGs over there, Jet. Mario and Mega Man I wasn't great at, but Final Fantasy I could explore and get in fights and figure out where to go. Thank you, Jet. Yeah, 10 is probably one of the first ones I almost beat. I basically, like I've told Dalan, I was at the bus rush at the very end. I was like, man, fuck this game. I'm out. But Dalan, what do you got to say to this, man?
Well, yes, this is that comment from a couple of episodes ago where we were talking about the Final Fantasy games, or at least the first game that really got us into playing video games. And I said it then, and I'll say it now. Jet, you still haven't beat the game. Carlos, obviously you haven't either, but come on.
But
you're right at the very end. Just beat it. Just beat it.
You don't have to. You just watch a YouTube video. You're fine.
You just watch it. No. I might have done that. I might have done that actually at the time.
No.
I was like,
you
whatever,
watch the video for 10-2 and you actually beat 10. You don't need to play 10-2.
I'm gonna play that one, dude. If I go into 10, I'm playing 10-2, Dalan, and I'm enjoying it.
Do it. You will hate yourself.
I'm enjoying all the dresses. I gotta switch out to the customizable stuff. I'm getting into it, dude. I'm getting into X2. All right,
give me a
I'm doing everything. All right, look, we're gonna get into the biggest thing. This was big before I even went on vacation. I wasn't that serious about it, but I was thinking like I should cancel vacation because this Starfield is coming out, man. I gotta play this, but I didn't. I was like, whatever, I'll play when I get back. And the internet has obviously been blowing up about it. We have a few things to talk about it as well, but we'll go around kind of a little bit, and kind of has it met your expectations, I guess would it be. Let's start with Deo here. Deo, has it met your expectations, or what have you been thinking of the game? We can, and what you've been playing, we'll dig a little deeper, by the way, but
Well, just for expectations wise, it definitely has. I didn't really have high expectations of it, to be honest, because Bethesda's last two games, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I could go back to a BGS game, but like this formula that they have for their Western RPG is just so good and compelling that like you got me transported back to Skyrim, and I don't like fantasy games like at all. That's not my jam.
Agree.
Fantasy things in general. But you mashed that, but like that game was so good, it hooked me. And so I was like, I have no idea what this game is all about. I don't like this kind of genre, but then when I started playing that, it got me in there. That's why when Starfield came around, I was like, I hope it's good, but I have some reservations. And it's definitely buggy. Like whoever tells you
just
that
par for the course
is lying to you.
Yeah, that's par for the course. Yeah.
Right. So, but regardless of all of that, I could forgive the jank. There's always going to be jank. I could forgive the jank because the game is so like open-ended and like exploration heavy, and it doesn't hold your hand and all that type of junk.
And I like how I like how the developers also kind of lean into it, right? It's like, we could have made a safer game, less bugs, that kind of thing. But like, no, this is like, we're trying to give you as much freedom as we can, and it's going to be buggy. It's going to be a buggy type of game. You said you play on both, so you're kind of cloud saving between both, kind of, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're on the Xbox Play Anywhere initiative, so I played the 5-day early access on my PC, and then I go bounce around on Xbox. And
how did you do I know people were talking about they were kind of having issues with the early access, but did you get that upgrade, $35 upgrade key thing, and it worked just fine to do the early access? Okay.
Like I had to wait because I guess my code wasn't going through like that first hour, I think it was, but then I just like went out, get some dinner, I replugged it in, and it worked fine.
Okay. Dalan, a little kind of overview, and we'll dig into it a little bit more on what you've been playing, but what do you think, man? Has it met your expectations, if you had any expectations?
For the expectations that I had, I figured, it's Bethesda and it was going to play like that open world Fallout Skyrim thing that they had going on. And don't get me wrong, the visuals are way more beautiful than I actually expected. Yeah. So that's
nice.
Above. Yeah.
And you're on the S, right? You're on the S and it's running.
I'm on the Series S. It's running smoothly.
Yeah.
The one thing that threw me off at first was the actual fighting in the game. I didn't expect it to be the way that it was, but I'll get more into that later on.
Yeah.
But at the very least, it is somewhere between expectations met and exceeded. So for anybody who does want to play this game, it's definitely up there on one of the better games.
Yeah, for me, dude, the overview is like I set it off wax. I'm studying for a test, a chord interpreting test. I'm taking it next week. So thank you for maybe hoping for the best. I joke with everyone, I'm gonna cram for this test, fail it, and have to take it again next year. But whatever. But I'm rewarding myself with 15 minutes at a time of Starfield. I think I said it on Twitter or something. So I studied for like 45 minutes and let me get a little Starfield. And it's a great game because you can save wherever, right? And it's constantly saving as well. But you can really save wherever. Like, I want to keep going, but I have to save. I got to get back to my mission, to my real life mission. But this shit has over and above exceeded my expectations, man. It's just my type of game. Those Western RPGs like an Outer Worlds and Fallout. Fallout 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. So it's definitely up there. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll dig into it a little bit more in what you've been playing. But I'm ready to keep playing, man. I'm just too hyped for it. But I'd save the best for last. Luis, from what I understand, you have not been able to launch this game off of PC Game Pass, or have you? Did you get around, or what's your experience with that? I suppose.
No. So even days leading up to pre-release and being able to like preload the game, I just couldn't do it. It keeps erroring out when I hit the download or install button. Went through Microsoft's sort of kind of recommendations, even scoured like Reddit, YouTube, Google in general. None of the fixes did anything. So I still haven't been able to play the game. It keeps erroring out at the same. As soon as I hit download, it immediately says error. Like there's no way to. So but then long story short, after going through some of the things, which was like deleting all the games, uninstalling the thing, blah blah. Now I can't download or install anything. So it's not just Starfield. So I went in. I actually canceled my Game Pass because I'm like, well, if I can't play anything, then why am I paying for this?
You know what? It's the launcher, dude. Whatever the launcher is. I remember I got a PC. The PC I'm recording on for my brother, right? He upgraded and he was like, "Here's my leftovers." So I'm like, "Fine, I'll take it." But the launcher's terrible, man. I had to like do a whole bunch of troubleshooting, a whole bunch of junk, and it was like finally I was able to get a game running. I think it was whatever that game was, the scary game that was on Game Pass. I was like, oh, look at this cool game. But anyways, I got it to run, but it was a whole bunch of like troubleshooting and stuff. It's like, it's terrible, dude. That launcher is trash. Do you have?
Was it medium? Was it the medium?
The medium, yes, the medium. I was playing the medium. I was like, I had to restart the computer, do all kinds of crap to it. Dale, you're playing on PC. Is there any kind of recommendations before we get into a couple more things of Starfield?
Yeah, so that problem sounds similar to what I had when I was trying to install Halo Infinite a couple times or a couple seasons ago. And so I had to go basically into what do you call it, the terminal or console or whatever it is, and like delete my Xbox ID or something somewhere. It's a random like Reddit thread that I found. And I was like, I had to go all the way and do that into code or whatever. I don't know what the code is, but I just deleted my thing, uninstalled the launcher and everything, so everything's like wiped clean and it didn't have a history of me at all, and then I just reinstalled it and it worked.
That last one's probably what I'm missing, because I went into PowerShell and ran a few commands like uninstalling and reinstalling things.
PowerShell.
I don't think I did one that like removed my user ID.
This is all wacky shit that you really gotta. It's like at 1 o'clock, 2 a.m. You gotta find out how to connect this fucking controller, and it's like, oh, it's the start and the Y. Shit, it's like this thing would not connect for the longest time. I was like, I'm gonna find out how to do it. This one's tricky. It's the start and Y or whatever.
Isn't it? The wire. There's a diagram on the back of that controller.
There is, but this shit's stupid, man. I don't know what the fuck that means. Like it doesn't even use the symbols on the buttons. The funny thing is though, so the trickier one. This one was cool because it connected at some point. But I have a wired version of this. You have to go in the switch and enable it or disable some kind of the NFT or NFC or whatever. You have to disable it for you to have wired controllers connected to it. But Dalan, go ahead. We're getting real of course, which I love it. Really, of course. But
hey, technical support. We need IT up in this bitch. But talking about the fact that you had the technical issues as soon as you launched the game, I know that for PC, a lot of PC players have been having issues with the game literally crashing because it's apparently sending extra codes to the GPU and the processor, and it's making it crash because it's making the processor refreshed multiple times, so it's resending the same code and overloading.
Don't we?
It is shutting it down.
Don't we just
It's
love this
crashed.
game? Don't we just love this game? And I wish. I think Luis is like, dude, I wish I could even boot the damn thing. Like, I wish I could even boot the damn game.
Have you
That's
got that
first
far
up.
to
Look,
see the crashing?
let's get-
no, Luis. Do you have an Xbox?
No, because I had a PC. I was like, well, I
You're like, why
down
the fuck
here.
would I need it?
You know what? So Luis's thing, I think, is in reverse, right? He would maybe consider getting an Xbox. I got a PC waiting to get an Xbox. Once I got the Xbox, like, man, fuck this PC. I don't need this.
Yeah, I mean, Starfield for me isn't. I'm gonna go grab an Xbox. Not quite yet.
Right.
So,
Right.
So we'll get on. I know we kind of went way off course, but a couple details as far as the launch for it. Starfield's Twitter was kind of celebrating that as of this morning, Starfield has already surpassed 6 million players, making it the biggest Bethesda game launch of all time. That's a little tricky, of course, with Game Pass, because it's kind of like, well, it was kind of free, but some people bought it. It was enough people bought it that it actually topped some of the charts, even like, and Dale, here we go with the upgrade thing, which I might actually get for the Steelbook, and it's the deal.
Steelbook, baby.
There you go, the Steelbook.
Did you get your watch? Did you get your
No.
watch?
Oh no. Why do I need that watch for?
That one's like a $300 version. I think.
$300.
Yeah,
I'm
for
like-
the watch, Dalen. That's not funny, man. That's not funny. But apparently it's had impressive physical sales in the UK, even though it's quote unquote free, right? This next one is kind of funny. Concurrent player records. I don't really understand fully what they mean, but it's like for Steam, it did 330,000 versus Skyrim's 287K. 472K for Fallout 4, which is like, I thought it beat those records, but Fallout 4 people were hyped for that one. The game has already been beaten under 3 hours, which is, of course, the internet. I'm sure they're going to figure out how to beat it within 30 minutes or less. There was this thing, help me out with this, Dave. I didn't follow it. I didn't want to dig into it. It sounded so stupid. But people are like kind of pretending that it's on PlayStation 5. If you can kind of give us a quick little, what's going on with that? Like, they wanted so much on PS5, this Xbox PC exclusive.
That's part of it. Yeah,
what
part of it. But like people, like, cause you know, like how the internet, like the Twitter and YouTube algorithm works. It's just like the SEO. Part of it is just like, oh, if you mention like Starfield in your tweet or your YouTube or whatever, it'll gain traction. So people like started doing that. Not only that, but Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called is starting to have payouts now. So people make the most outlandish tweets and bullshit bait out there. And so they'll pull this and say this kind of crap, and then they'll get engagement, and then people will be like, no, you're lying. It's never on PS5, blah, 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 like that thing. But that's basically it.
And always look at the people are adding context to this shit. I love that thing, man.
Oh,
I love that
okay.
people added context. Like, okay, well, give me some context on this shit because I don't know. And I don't have Dale on speed dial. I don't even have his phone number. All right, so I can't get in touch. Because you're on the, what is it called? You're on the pulse of the people, Dale. You understand what's going on the internet, kind of.
Yeah.
When you go on vacation, I guess. Todd Howard did. Maybe this tip is for you, Luis. He said, if Starfield ain't working for you, he said, upgrade your PC. He had an interview with the BBC where he said, quote, well, actually, no, that was part of it, upgrade your PC, but he also talked about exclusivity to the BBC. He said, quote, when you're making something exclusive, then the more you can focus, you know this is the hardware or the thing people are playing on, so the ability to focus on that always yields a better product. He also said that there's going to be official mod support coming in 2024 called monetization. I'm sure they want to make money off of these mods, right? And the other thing that you guys might be interested in as far as the exclusivity, right? He also said this on the BBC, in the BBC interview. He said, quote, I do also think people attach brands to certain games. When you think of Zelda, you think of the Switch, and I think there are times when that can be a real benefit. So he's kind of what is it called, the two in the company line, or he's kind of just like, we're exclusive, we're owned by Xbox, by Microsoft. But what do you think, Dalen? You like that he says, like, you think Zelda, you think Nintendo, Starfield, Xbox?
I mean, there are good ways to actually improve your brand itself, and for Bethesda, it's kind of like transversive for them, because when you hear Fallout, you think Bethesda. When you hear Elder Scrolls or Skyrim, you think Bethesda. You don't think, oh, that game is on PS5. You don't think, oh, that game is on Xbox. I don't give a damn what system it's on. I really don't. As long as the game works and it's good, I'm gonna play it. And that recognition for most people is that game is good. Oh, I need to figure out who this company is. It's like You got Street Fighter, you know that's Capcom. I don't give a damn what system it's on.
But as Dale was just talking about, like, you know, people are over here trying to think like this is on PSP. They're trying to kind of, or not on PSP, on PlayStation, right? So there is people associate certain kind of brands to certain platforms, right? Like with Halo and like, you know, you have Uncharted. Those are associated to certain consoles, right? But I think it's kind of like he's just kind of, you know, towing the company line, and it's like, hey, look at this. We're making something exclusive for Xbox. Like, well, you don't have any choice. All right, Todd Howard, you don't have a choice, man. They told you, watch you guys out. It's gonna be on Xbox and Game Pass, but you know, it's cool. I think it's cool, and it's,
I guess he thinks it helps their company in this way.
It's kind of, it helps Xbox and Bethesda and all that. But Dale, what do you make of this, man? What do you make of this quote here?
Todd Howard got paid. He don't care. He's like, whatever. I'll say anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's like, what do you want me to say, Xbox here?
What do you want me to say, Phil? But at the same time, like it's ingrained in the minds of people that, yeah, like a lot of franchises or brands are associated with certain platforms. So, like you said, Uncharted, that's always going to be PlayStation in my brain. But that also goes with a lot of multi-platform type of games too. Like Dalan was saying, Street Fighter, right? I'll always associate in my brain like Street Fighter with like early PlayStation or Nintendo products. So if a game is available on the multiple platforms, I tend to like buy the platform specific game on the one I associate most. So if it's like early first person shooters, racing games, like I think about Xbox or Western RPGs, like Xbox. If it's like a JRPG, always PlayStation. And I'll tend to buy for that specific one. So, I mean, right now, Xbox definitely has most of the Western, like the good are like Western RPGs right now, with the exception of a few like Eastern ones.
Well, European ones, I mean. Yeah, the Witcher's been on there.
Yeah, like Witcher, like that kind of thing, with the exception of them. But like, I doubt that they'll be like super exclusive to PlayStation, since there's such like a big audience. Although I don't know, I couldn't tell you. Money.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't work there.
But you know what's funny is it's like the loyalty for me. I think his Switch. It used to be like, okay, I associate that with Super Nintendo or PlayStation or whatever. But for me, actually, in the last. All right, it's been about 20 years maybe, or what is it, 15 years? It's honestly trophies, man, on the PlayStation. I'm like, I will always want to just keep playing because of the trophies on there. But it, you know, and one of the things that's funny, there's a guy on Twitter or on the internet that I follow, is Power Picks. All he does is PlayStation stuff. All it is PlayStation trophies. Guess what guide he has up right now? A Starfield guide. He has an achievement guide, and he never does Xbox guides. So, and they're probably interchangeable, right? You can use his guide for Xbox games, but he's really like counting trophies on there, right? So it's like, this game is big enough that even a person that's dedicated to PlayStation is like, I'm gonna make a guide for this because people are gonna want to know how to do everything on it, right? And of course, Todd Howard has been out there as well. There's an Indiana Jones games that they're working on. They didn't say too much. He basically said, we'll talk about it next year, right? He said that to Esquire. But apparently the mechanics are there, man. From what I understand, the mechanics are there, and it's like, it's in good condition. But I'm pretty sure it's a couple years away. Probably on Game Pass, right? It'll be quote unquote free on Game Pass. The next thing we have on here is apparently we might be getting a Nintendo Direct. We might have gotten it today because I think they do them on Mondays, but it's kind of 9/11, so I feel like Nintendo was like, we're not gonna do it that way. And then today, when this podcast goes up, is the Apple thing, right? So we get the next Apple product announcement. And so I think we'll get a Nintendo Direct, maybe on the Switch too. Maybe we get a couple details, because at Gamescom, behind closed doors, they were showing a souped up version of Zelda Breath of the Wild on a Switch 2. And this is from Nate the Hate, I guess he's a Twitter guy, via Nobert. Breath of the Wild was being showed 4K 60, no loading times. Matrix Awakens UE5 wasn't shown on native hardware, but impressive. They weren't sure if it was DLSS 3.1 or 3.5. They were talking maybe March 2024, and they're not sure about backwards compatibility. There might be a Direct this week, so that's kind of what, like, we'll see in a couple days. Luis, you put in redacted. I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you say why you're redacting from this, or can you?
Because I can't talk about it.
Okay, got you. All right. We won't push you. We're not gonna push you. Dalan, what do you think, man? Don't push.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I like it.
But
did you
play it? No,
Dalan. We'll leave it there. Dalan, what do you think from what we can see here? Okay.
Hey, the fact is that we've been talking about the Switch 2 for quite some time, and whether or not it may even just potentially be built. And we knew that they were holding off on making it, but having actual kits out there in the world that are actually being, shown to people officially at an official capacity, it's like, finally, all right, now how long do we have to wait? Probably 2024, 2025 at the latest.
I think it could be next year, man. I think their sales have been slipping. They're still selling like hotcakes. They still sell very, very well, right? I think Xbox would love to be in the position of whatever they're selling as far as Switches are concerned, but they've been slipping. So I think it could potentially be next year. I know the original was in March. But, it could be summer, it could be fall, right? They could kind of write it out a little bit more. But they're out there. These systems are out there. They're being shown behind closed doors. Wink, wink. What's going on, Dalan?
Do you know what a DLSS is?
No, I don't. That's why I just kind of read it out. And look, I'll be honest, Dalan. And, oh, by the way, Dalan has been maturing. On Wax, you guys might have heard him like, this is it's like, this is not, Dalan. We're telling him on Wax, it's not that. But lately, he's been like, oh, I don't know what that is. And that's fair.
I told you. I'll tell you when I don't know what some shit is.
Lately,
for example, DLSS. I don't know what the hell DLSS is either.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But Luis, you can tell us what that is, right? DLSS. That's not a company.
It's like DLSS isn't new. They're just constantly making updates to it. One of which just came out they updated the graphics drivers recently.
Okay.
Basically it's like an AI generated way of optimizing your frames so that it uses less processing.
Okay, there it is. DLSS.
So like
so the 3.1 or the 3.5 is that like
3.5 just
version?
came out, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
There you go.
So it's a better version of it.
There you go, Switch 2. So I'm looking for this stinky Switch, man. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of it. All right, I need something better. All right, I know they're not gonna do OLED. From what I understand, they're not gonna do OLED from the start. I'm sure they learned from Vita because Vita had OLED from the start. Beautiful, beautiful OLED, and at some point they replaced it with a lower end. But we'll see what happens. We'll go into quick takes. Dale, you threw out some smoke out there. Embracer Group has kind of been in the news. They're thinking of like spinning off some of the companies. But I thought this statement you made on Twitter, and I'll read it as I always do with probably more emphasis than when you wrote it out. But this is Dale's comment on Twitter. He said, quote, "Don't compare Embracer Group to other publishers buying up properties. Embracer is a holdings company. Their business model is completely different than a traditional publisher. They have no one else to blame but themselves for what's happening to their assets." That's the emotion you had, right, when you wrote this.
That's exactly what it was.
What does this mean, Dale? What's going on? They're losing assets. They're trying to sell them, or what's the differentiation?
They themselves.
No, well, I made this tweet mainly because like people were like, it's like, oh, see, it's really bad, the consolidation of video game companies and all this type of thing. This is what's going to happen to Bethesda, or this is what's going to happen to like all the game devs that Xbox has been buying up or whatever like that. I was like, that's not necessarily true, because Xbox has a bunch of different revenue streams that they utilize in order to make a profit. First of all, Embracer Group is just a holdings company. They just like own stuff and they sit on it.
They don't do nothing with it. Yeah,
they treat it like it's like real estate. They like hold on to it for like a certain amount of time. They don't even.
Who wants this?
Who wants it? They don't even interact with like the devs. Like they let the devs do whatever they normally would be doing or whatever like that. And if they increase in profits or like popularity or whatever, that's good for them. But other than that, if the bottom line doesn't meet their performance level or whatever rate of return they're expecting, they just cut it off. So that's why they canceled that Volition team over that made the Saints Row games.
Yeah,
and everything,
Saints Row.
Bad. That sucks, but like. Yeah. That's their business model. That sucks for that kind of, holding company and that kind of business model for video gaming. Yeah. It's not necessarily true for publishers that have, different, what do you call it, like goals in mind and business models.
Well, I say part of that understanding for them being a holding company is that whoever they actually hold can actually contract themselves out to other publishers to be able to actually create that revenue when they actually have their games made.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So they might not be owned by a specific company with the exception of the holding company, but they could just be out there like it's kind of like making them independent being under the holding company. So You could just be out there selling your product to people, and if nobody wants to buy it, the holding company is like, all right, we don't need you anymore. Nobody wants you. We're gonna sell you off.
Yeah, and that is kind of one of the things that people are kind of rumoring, right? Is the fact that they might be selling a Gearbox, right? Is kind of one of the things, but that's not assured, right? That doesn't mean they will. That's just like exploring options. The key word is exploring options.
It's like trading like an athlete. They just like, it's like, hey, we're gonna put Gearbox out there. Who wants to pick up this guy?
We're putting some feelers out. Putting some feelers out. Dan, what do you think if they still have Gearbox, or any thoughts on that specifically, I guess, as far as them saying?
My thoughts on that specifically is just specifically Gearbox, outside of the whole screwed up thing that they did to Fox Gaming with fucking aliens. The fact is Gearbox created their own engine at some point and said, all right, we're just going to make massive games. They could literally go the route of Bungie and say, all right, we have these massive games. Let's just go make our own game, make it a live service, and just let the cash roll in as long as they keep working on it. People love Borderlands as much as people want to say they hate it.
Lise, do you love Borderlands?
No.
See,
not everybody is in that boat. I didn't say everybody in the first place.
That's fair.
Not to say that I hate it. Not to say that I hate it. It's just not for me.
Yeah, that's which is fair. Which is fair.
But it has a large enough fan base that if they made a MMO thing like Destiny,
or a TV series or something,
or I mean, they're making a TV series or a movie or something. Destiny hasn't done that. They need to make a movie. I'd love to watch that live action.
Taylor, get back on track, please, sir.
I can't help it. You got me. But when it comes to Gearbox, I would love for them to go independent and start making their own bigger games.
Which they were, right? They could potentially become independent, right? Like, again, like, you know, like you were mentioning, and sorry that I'm trapping you back on this, Dalan, but Bungie was sort of like that, right? They were independent, right? Then they were under Activision, but they were sort of kind of independent still, right? They just kind of retained the rights to Destiny or whatever, because
Activision let them go, and then Activision's stock went, bam, whoa, it hit the floor.
Yeah, they were fine. Man, they were fine. But you know, you did mention, Dale, that Volition got shut down. They were founded in 1996. They of course made Red Faction. If you remember back in the PS2 days, it was one of those games where like you can blow up holes everywhere. Look at this. It was like a whole physics based thing, right?
That was a big deal. That was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Red Faction 2, they had that gun that could shoot through walls. That was my jam.
Oh yeah, dude, I still remember Red Faction 2. There was a store. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a store called Blockbuster. You could rent games from this store, and I remember renting Red Faction 2. I was like, I'm trying to beat this, and it was like before I had to go to school, I had like 30 minutes. Like, I'm not gonna be able to beat it. And I just shot everywhere, like started blowing everything up. I was like, all right, I had my fun. And I returned it to this fabled Blockbuster store. But yeah, it's kind of sad seeing them that they're going back, you know, from 1996. They did Red Faction and Saints Row, which, Saints Row, they had some good entries. Not all of them were great. This last one that they did was a little rough, as Mr. Legacy Killer HD said, holy shit, Saints Row, the remake really killed them. Wow. And that wasn't enough. He sent out another tweet. He said, barely made it another 30 days after celebrating 30 years. Damn. Dalan, did you say your piece on this, I guess, on Volition, or what do you think?
No, in this particular case, I remember when Saints Row was coming out, or at least the remake for Saints Row, a whole bunch of like investing companies were saying, man, they're on their last leg. If this doesn't work, it's gonna kill them. It didn't work.
I mean, it was one of those things where Embracer was like, okay, you guys are not making us any money at all, and then this, you guys made some. It was not a great game.
It reminded me of Anthem because they were saying Anthem is the last game for. I can't remember who made Anthem, but they were saying this is your last gung ho attempt at trying to get some money. Yeah. Release Anthem, let's see what happens. They had one of the worst launches in the history of launching games.
I think they're still around though. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, you're
Anthem's
backed
still
by
around.
EA. Yeah, I think they're still around, but it was rough. It was rough going. There was a lot of ramen eating. There's a lot of ramen eating, some lean nights for a little while over there. Not to make fun of it, right? But you know, it's a hard business. It's a hard business. The next thing we have on here is that Nintendo might have finally figured out their Joy-Con drift. What is it? They released in 2017. We're 6 years later. They're still trying to fix it. This is the VGC headline. They said Nintendo has filed a patent for smart fluid joysticks, perhaps to eliminate drift. The fluid can become elasticated when used with the magnetic field. Luis, we'll go with you, man. What do you think? Is this the end of Joy-Con drift? They managed to get this to work.
I don't know. Just because it's Nintendo, I'm not sure. Like for whatever reason, these past few years, I've just kind of lost all faith in anything that they do. Yeah. But I mean, everyone else seems to love using their joysticks, right? Yeah. Their joystick mechanism. So yeah. Maybe if this is a way for them to make more money off of all of the other developers, then maybe they will actually make this good.
You know what? And I think you've tolerated them up to this point, at least. I know what the nail in the coffin was, man. The fact that they can't get Pokemon to run correctly anymore. Was that the nail in the coffin that you're like F Nintendo or?
No, dude. The nail in the coffin was honestly their Nintendo Plus subscription or whatever.
Game Pass thing.
Oh yeah, you're definitely like, I'm not doing.
When they announced that, I was like,
he said, "Fuck this price for this set of games."
And meanwhile,
for the games, it's like I want a better online service. That's what I want. I'm not going to pay for.
Can't talk to my friends. Can't connect to them properly.
It is trash. And which is funny though, 50% of this podcast is subscribed to their highest tier. Their highest tier to play Pokemon Puzzle League. All right, Dalan, please finish your swig of water. And what are your thoughts on this situation here?
I'm thinking that even if they did get that to even start working, there's still going to be drift, especially if they're still using magnetic. If they're still talking about magnetic fields. They think it might actually be elastic, but it's still a magnetic field. The fact is, the magnetics after time can still fade and be rubbed out, pushed in the wrong direction.
Phrasing,
Dalan. Enjoy my phrasing. But we've been having freaking controller drift since PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64, because I still have my drifts on Nintendo 64.
You remember those? You remember those stains on that N64 analog stick? Yeah, the powdery substance on the controller.
Now I still remember and I'm pretty sure it still happened with GameCube, where you plug in a controller. If you have a button held down while you're plugging it in, that shit is locked. Yeah. Period. Yeah. And sometimes you don't realize it. You're trying to play the game with that whole with that drift going, and you're just pissed off the whole time. And you'll rub that controller raw. Yes, sir. I said
further phrasing, but okay, Dalan. I will say this: I think you can still do it if you are turning on the controller and you have the analog down, or I think you can still kind of mess it up. I think I've had that.
No, you can't do that with
turning on the controller and rubbing it out. Yeah.
We'll move on, Dalan. The other thing, real quick, Donald Mustard is retiring from Epic Games after 25 years in the industry, 7 years at Epic Games. I just wanted to mention that I did have a very cool story regarding him. N'Gai Croal from Newsweek. He's kind of just does I think he does hit detection, or he's kind of just does like mock reviews for video game companies, but he was at Newsweek. And Geoff Keighley, I met all these mans together. I don't know if you guys remember when Shadow Complex came out in 08, 09 or something like that. I think Geoff Keighley was like, hey, we have a code for Shadow Complex if you can make it to LA. And I'm 60 miles away. And I'm like, I'm going to get there. You guys just got to give me time. And they gave me time. I showed up, took a picture with them. I'm sure I have that picture somewhere with them. But yeah, Donald Mustard, N'Gai Croal, and Geoff Keighley. They waited for me. Handed over that key. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, hey guys, I'm on my way. There might be. I think it was Twitter that we were using. So there has to be an official kind of thing of Twitter. Like, hey, I'm almost there. 20 minutes away, guys. 20 minutes away, and I got a code from him. So he was a real cool dude. He's made so much money from Fortnite. It's like. He was just like waiting till I'm sure, like, you know what, I'm good. Let me. I think he even said it in his statement, like, let me enjoy time with my family and all that. It's like he's earned it. He's earned it, so I'm happy for him. Just wanted to kind of mention that on there because Twitter's been good, man. We met Dale through Twitter.
You were a dedicated fan driving 60 miles to pick.
Well, I thought they were gonna give it away to someone else, man. I think it might have been like they were having dinner. It was like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. So they were like, whatever, we're just gonna eat dinner and see if this guy shows up. But anybody could have shown up. Maybe that's the infancy of Twitter at the time, right? That it was like not as because now. Come on, dude. What happened in New York, Dalan? Tell me what happened in New York when a man said, I'm going to give you shoes or PlayStations or whatever.
Hey, man, he did not coordinate that correctly.
So, yeah, the internet's so much bigger now, man. People got notifications and all kinds of stuff. But it was cool. It was a cool little moment. This one's for you, Dalan. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is getting a video game sequel. So this is via Kotaku. It's picking up where the movie left off. And in the article, it says, Nickelodeon's big summer animated film, TMNT Mutant Mayhem, is getting a video game tie-in set in the movie's universe that promises to combine the film's bold, painterly art style with the funny story and energetic ninja teamwork. So maybe a little co-op action, Dalan? What do you think, man? You're hyped about this?
First question I gotta ask is, have you guys actually seen Mutant Mayhem already?
I have. It was excellent. It was very excellent.
Mm-hmm. All right, then I'll be careful of my next words, but the story for that movie actually upset me. The animation was great. The action was great. But the story upset me.
It was all right. It wasn't too great of a story. But the animation's incredible, though. We're definitely in a post, what's the Spider-Man Across the Universe world? Or what? We're in a post world where your animation better be on point because we will accept nothing less. We will accept nothing less than these beautiful animations. But the game is kind of cool, and it's weird that they didn't do a game, right? We're past that point where, you know, you had those AA games where, like, yeah, we'll roll the dice on a SpongeBob movie tie-in or a Ninja Turtles game movie tie-in. I think we're past that time. So it's funny that, like, this movie blew up. Let's make a video game in that world. But we're going to play it, though, right, Dale? Even though the story upset you, we're going to get down with this.
Even though the story upset me and everybody looked like they had the mumps through the entire film, yeah, I'll play it.
Okay, interesting. The mumps, huh? The next thing on here, Daytona USA 2 Sega Racing Classic 2 is coming with Like a Dragon Gaiden, also Fighting Vipers 2. Dale, you didn't put a yes on this, but are you not a Daytona fan, or you don't care? Because this never came out, I guess, is the key to this.
No, I am. I don't know. I have anything to add to this.
You're like, you know what? It exists.
Hey, I could say that I used to be a huge Daytona racing fan. Yeah, when you play it in arcade, though, that's where you go to play it. You sit in that chair, you get that steering wheel. That's where it's golden. You
put it on your 4 friends next to you, and you try to
link it up.
He knows. It's the same thing. Same thing with Cruising USA. I would prefer to play that in an arcade, but. You know, I don't mind it on Nintendo 64 with the double tap A and watch me boost.
Well, look, all that is great, but the arcades died for a reason. And this never came out. So it's coming out. All right, it's coming out in the US of A. All right, so I'll put it that way.
Oh, I am mad. Just a side note to this, Like a Dragon Gaiden thing. I am mad that they don't have a physical copy coming out to the United States or North American market. So I had to buy mine over on Play Asia.
I was gonna say,
and it's gonna be like the Japanese version for it, so I'm kind of pissed about it.
But on the plus side, it's like $38 or $39 or something like that, or like $40 or something, right?
Yeah.
On the plus side,
you get it for $36.
With Wario 64's code. Hey, Wario, we better get some a cut out of this little revenue you're getting over there, man. But yeah, so on the plus side, it is an international version, physical copy, $40. But it's gonna come out like 3 months after the digital is up, man. So you're gonna well, you buy the digital to play it, or you're just gonna wait for the physical. What are you gonna do, Dale?
No, I'll wait.
Okay.
I have time. Like, normally I wouldn't wait, but like this year is just there's so much stuff to play. I have to wait for this.
There's so much, man. The next thing on here, Sea of Stars sells 250,000 copies, which it's funny because it was on Game Pass and also on PlayStation. So if people are actually like plunking down real money, that's pretty good. They said that beats the studio's projections for the first year. So they did that within a couple weeks.
They did that in the first week.
Okay, there you go. Well, I think the first week was 100,000, or maybe the first day or something. Maybe you're right. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Dalan. All right, 250K the first week. It's a lot of copies. It's way past what they projected. Dalan, we'll go to you, man. What do you think as far as like their son? They deserves it, right? And we're gonna get some more.
Very much deserves it. I will talk more about the game later, but 250,000 copies. They projected that for the whole year, and they got that in 1 week. And the people that created this game and the ideas where they pulled the ideas from, this is the game that I've been waiting for in regards to RPGs. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of other like 2D 2.5D games that came out, like Octopath Traveler and stuff like that. They're trying to keep it a little old school, but this one does it right.
Yeah. Dale, what do you think, man?
Yeah, congratulations. I knew this was going to be good because it had like a lot of hype behind it when the announcement trailer came out, and it has like a lot of cool like concepts from Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, especially the musicians is originally on it. So I just want to praise it. That's all.
There it is. Sea of Stars. I've still got to play it, man, but I'm trying to focus studying. And Starfield, I don't have time for Sea of Stars, but I will. I'll get to it after Starfield. They are working on a DLC that's going to connect the dots between Sea of Stars and The Messenger. I know that they did work on The Messenger. It's the same developer, but it's kind of funny that they're kind of like... Did you guys know? You guys already knew that the universes were tied? The Messenger and Sea of Thieves.
I don't even know what The Messenger is.
The Messenger is like a 16-bit like ninja game where you're slashing away. It's a beautiful game. It's kind of an amazing like 16-bit kind of action game. But they're tying them together, so that's kind of cool that they want to keep the worlds together that way. There's going to be a Stray animated movie coming from Annapurna Animation. Dalan, are you super hyped?
Super hyped. I can't say that. I'm just glad that they're doing it because the game itself was good. I'm hoping that it's more of a short film than a full-length movie because I'm not trying to sit an hour and a half to watch a cat walk around town and talk to a couple of robots. Okay. But a nice 20-minute short film of Stray would be excellent.
You're getting a full-featured movie, man, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna fucking enjoy it. All right, that's what
you're from a human, like a human child is gonna be in there now.
Yeah, you're gonna go from the moment that the cats were born and then they were abandoned, thrown into the water. It's gonna be an emotional roller coaster, man. And you're gonna that's at the beginning of the game. They're like next to a water fountain thing, and they're orphans.
They're walking across a dam, yes, but.
Yeah. How did they end up there?
They're orphans, they're stray.
How did they end up there? They were thrown into some waterways. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. It's supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic thing.
That's what I'm saying. Dalan, full-featured movie. You just enjoy it, man. You sit there, grab your popcorn, your Diet Dr. Pepper, and you just enjoy it, sir. All right, I don't even know if you drink a Diet Dr. Pepper. I just threw that out.
No, I don't.
Okay, but Spyro Reignited Trilogy sold 10 million copies. I just wanted to mention that because that seems like a lot. And no one talks about Spyro. You guys all said no to this, so I just wanted to throw that out there. It seems like that's a lot. Mm-hmm.
I will admit I used to be a huge fan of Spyro, hopping around those platforms all the time. But at this point, I do think Spyro has run its course.
Yeah.
Let's move on from Spyro.
Let's move on. 10 million people are not moving on, man. I feel like that's a lot of copies. I feel like that's a lot.
No, I think in this particular case, it's just the new generation that never played it when it first came out. For all the people who were around when these Spyro games dropped one by one, it's like, all right, Spyro 1, yes. Spyro 2, yes. Spyro 3,
I think it's a nostalgia thing, man. New kids don't know who Spyro is. I think it's definitely a nostalgia play, and you know they were able to round up 10 million people.
Hey, drop a remake of Gex, all right? I'll play that.
Enter the Gecko, indeed, huh, Dalan? Enter the Gecko or Enter the Gex or some wackiness?
It's Gex, Enter the Gecko.
Okay, there you go. The other thing is Suikoden. I just threw this in here because I wanted to say Suikoden. I don't know if that's how you say it. I doubt that's how you say it, but that's how I say it, all right? Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters are delayed into 2024, so if you guys were expecting them, that's when they're going to be out there. This one's for you, Dalan. Final Fantasy 16 is going to get 2 DLC expansions. We both platinumed the game. You platinumed it about like 3 months later, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'll play them. You're down, right? You're down for the DLC expansions, or?
The only one I want to play is the one that finishes the story.
It was done. It was done.
I'm gonna leave that one out in the open with this air of mystery. I feel like the story was incomplete, even though they told a full and complete story in itself. There was that one strand where you're like, "No, I don't like it. Bring it back. I don't like it."
It was look. I don't want to spoil it, right? And I know you don't either. But I thought it was pretty final, and I did like the finality of it. But you know, there's a couple strands there, and we'll find out.
Here, I'll say it like this: it's as complete as John Wick 4. It's as complete as John Wick 4. That's what
fucking spoilers all over the place, but that's fine, Dalan. The next thing on here, PSP, not the PlayStation Portable, but the PlayStation Portal, which it's just very trashy from the very beginning, man. You're talking about, let me run my PlayStation 5 games through my Wi-Fi that barely connects, and it's going to be a great experience. Get the fuck out of here, all right? But $200, out November 15. By the way, this is Tom Warren broke this down. I forget what website he is. The Verge. I think he's on The Verge. He said no Bluetooth, so they got particular headphone things that you got to connect to this thing. No local play, no PS5 cloud streaming, and it has the same battery life as the DualSense. And I like that the audacity of PlayStation to say, quote, due to high demand, there is a limit of 1 remote player per order. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, those are the PlayStation earbuds that I don't think they've released them yet, but they only work with those so far.
So wacky, man. So fucking wacky. But I like their audacity of Sony, only one. Sorry, too high demand for this thing.
That is called expert marketing, to actually say this is so exclusive and so many people want it. Only limited 1 per person, when in reality they just didn't make enough because they weren't sure if it was going to sell. But they're not going to tell people that, and they're like, all right, we made 100,000, we got 101,000 people that want this, so we got to do 1 per person.
That's pretty smart, Dalan. It's very I like it. That's most likely true, and I think that's probably what happened with PlayStation VR 2 as well. Luis, did you have any kind of thoughts? I know you seem like you kind of had something.
No, it's just because you said the headphone thing. I was just clearing up that it's the PlayStation earbuds.
Okay, there you go. But these guys are out of control, man. I look, raise of hands. Who is not going to get this thing? Ooh,
no
Dale,
no
Dale.
Play, no cloud gaming.
Sorry. I had to think about that for a second.
We're like, wait, he phrased it. I was trying to do it so we could see hands go up, right? Because the other way, there was not going to be any hands go up. So I like how Dale's like, I'm kind of a couple simply, what do they call simply lemonades into this podcast now?
I finished that stuff early. No way.
So the next thing, of course, just to kind of add some wound into the injury here, or whatever the phrase is, there's a PlayStation Plus price hike. Essential is going up to $80. Extra is going to $135. Premium is going to $160. I know they do the little tricky of $159.99 BS, but we know what it is, right? These guys are fully out of control, man. They're very, very fully out of control. Luis, we'll go to you first, man. What do you make of this PlayStation hike? Price hike.
All of that progress they made from transitioning PS3 to PS4 they're throwing it down the drain right now.
You mean PS4 to PS5?
What? No, from PS3 they were way behind in the race, and then they kind of made up for it in PS4, and I think they're starting to. I don't know. With decisions like this, they're going to start losing their market share, especially when this thing hasn't even been out for a year yet, right? Yeah. And they're already increasing the price. For $40 more, you could get a PSP. So, take that into account when you make your purchase this year. I actually got, I guess in hindsight, kind of lucky. While I was in Mexico, I had forgotten that it was about to renew, and I didn't turn off auto renew. So it renewed while I was at the zoo or some shit in Mexico. I was like,
you're like, where did my $120 go?
Yeah, and I was like, oh damn, fuck, I forgot to cancel the thing. And then 2-3 days later, they announced that they were increasing the price. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I kind of got a little lucky.
You got a deal. You got a deal to play those PlayStation games with the Plus Supreme. Dale, what do you make of this wackiness here, man?
Just ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm on a subscription cut down mode right now. I'm literally cutting down everything that has a subscription on it, with the exception of like Amazon Prime and like Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass, or whatever like that. Because this is getting ridiculous. I just got an email from it was Hulu, and I have Hulu and ESPN and Disney Plus tied together as a trio. I was getting that for $10 a month, and I've kept that for like the longest time. And now they're hiking it up to $24 a month, and I was like, no,
that's it. That's it. I'm
absolutely not. And then I saw this, and I was like, you're also part of that group. Nope, you're on the list. Go on, you're gone when you're dead, when you're done. And it doesn't matter to me as much because PlayStation, I normally, if it's an exclusive to that platform, I just buy it anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me, like if I keep it, whether or not it's not gonna really affect me too much.
It starts to make you think about recalculating, right? It's like, because for me, it's really like, oh, yeah, straight is worth $22 to upgrade to Plus Supreme or whatever. But it's like, wait, it's going to be higher than that at this point, right? To kind of how they adjust the pricing or whatever. So it makes you kind of rethink your decisions here.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, like, I think Game Pass Ultimate, which is like their highest tier, is definitely still more expensive than this per monthly value or per yearly value. But like Xbox has like the cloud sharing, they have xCloud, they also have cross share and all
day one releases, like
Starfield. That's a
right?
big deal. So it's like, to me, there's more benefit that way, where I could just like keep spending. Like if I really wanted a PlayStation exclusive, I'll be there day one regardless, or I could wait. It doesn't matter. Or I could play a better version on the PC for a PlayStation exclusive. So it's like, you know, the trade-offs are there.
I think the only thing is that on the lower end, because if let's say all that is true, right? You just buy these games outright. I think on the lower end, the fact that it's like $80 to play online, right? Like that's kind of the like.
Right.
So on the low end, that's kind of a tough tough pill to swallow.
I believe all these prices are for the year, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, for the year, it's still kind of pricey. Then when the renewal comes up, you're gonna feel great. Dalan, anything else before we kind of move on? I suppose.
I did do a little bit of math in this particular case because I have PlayStation Extra and I have it until next year, so I'm okay there. But the $135 a year is $11.50 or $11.25 per month, while Xbox we're paying $17.50 or $17.25. And that's $204 a year. So there's a bit of a gap there when it comes to the price that you have.
Yeah.
Yes, you could say I'm going to get rid of the PlayStation Plus Supreme simply because they hiked up their price. You're seeing that total number right away. They're just telling you up front, if you're going to get this, you're getting the whole year. Versus Xbox, where if you're paying all year, you're still paying more than them, but that's considering you stay on the Xbox Game Pass. They're keeping you there because Xbox Game Pass is like, we got good shit. PlayStation is like, we got stuff.
So we're not gonna exactly get everything we want from you, but we'll meet you halfway.
The problem with PlayStation really is that they need to give you a monthly option that meets these same prices. The fact that they don't is what's really killing them. Just looking at the big numbers is scaring people.
Hey,
and people are dumping ship. They're going to Mexico.
They're going to Mexico. They're going to Mexico. That's what you got from Lisa's story. That they're going to Mexico. Look. You're bringing some good points out here, Dan. This podcast, maybe we need to just record every 3 weeks, man, because you're coming with that logic over here. But I will say this was pretty funny that I saw from Reese Elliott. He's a games market analyst at Super RHYS over there. He said PR for PlayStation Plus's price hike. Price adjustment will enable us to continue bringing high quality and value-added benefits to your PlayStation Plus subscription service. Metacritic scores for September's games: Saints Row 61, Tank the developer, by the way. Black Desert 61, Generation Zero 45. So there you go. Thank you, Sony. Thank you, Sony, for the high-quality games that you offer us every month.
The price of the brick has gone up.
Look, we got one more. I'm super, super excited about this, man, because I've actually played these little indie games in the last couple years. I caught up to them. They're not super incredible games, but for like a single A game, platformers, the Little Nightmares series has been pretty good. And they just announced Little Nightmares 3, which, whatever, I'll play it whenever I get around to. But no, sir. It's being developed by Supermassive Games. So my body is more than ready for this.
Oh, you sure you're not ready for it to bug out like the last Supermassive game that you guys played?
That was an anthology, man. The quarry was super excellent. The quarry was very excellent, man. I can't deny the quarry. Single player.
But what was the one that came out after that? The horror one that I didn't
The Devil in
play?
Me, which was it was rough. But hey, this is a smaller scope. Right, it's a smaller scope game, but I think they're a super talented developer. Right, it's like Quantic Dream, and I think even Quantic Dream announced something. I didn't put it on the rundown, but they announced like a sort of a smaller project. And
it's a release.
Yeah. See, so there you go. So Supermassive kind of brings down the scope, and I love their aesthetics and kind of their gameplay and stuff like that. So I'm super hyped. Luis, is your body ready for this as well?
Yeah, that is a good, because when I saw that, I was like, wait, how did this happen? Like, they definitely didn't develop the other ones. But yeah, you both bring up good points, right? The Devil in Me, it was really buggy, dude. It was super, super, super buggy.
Yeah.
Somehow we made it through the game. I think we had
I had
quit out
COVID.
to the main menu.
I had
COVID.
I had COVID, and I was like, I'm gonna play this out, man. I'm gonna play this out. I survived it, but oh, sorry, Luis, I stepped on your line.
And I did, yeah. The other day, I was like kind of shuffling through the games, and I saw Devil in Me. I was like, fuck this. Like, I actually said it out loud. Fuck
this game.
But
I give that same face when I see the Ascent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, when you bring down the scope, it's obviously not going to be as big of a game or as ambitious as that with the different POVs and all that. So, yeah, I mean, I think they could definitely knock it out of the park with that one, especially with their, when they do it right, like what they did with the Quarry. It's obviously a fantastic game.
And I would argue Until Dawn too, but I think Liz, you said you try to go back to Until Dawn, but I
couldn't handle the controls.
Okay, but
it's the flashlight controls.
I thought it was super excellent, but I haven't played it. You just recently played it, and some of these games don't hold up. I understand that, but when I played it, it was a super excellent game. So Until Dawn, I'm hoping that they take the Until Dawn and the Quarry mentality and focus, and do that and not do the anthology stuff, which even the anthology has some pluses a little bit.
I will say this for Little Nightmares is that for part 3, if they keep it with their stop motion animation and keep it just as creepy as they made it as part 1 and part 2,
which they're able, I think they're able. I think Supermassive is more than able. Hey, we're gonna get into what you've been playing. We've been teasing it enough, I suppose. Dalan, we'll go to you first, man. How deep are you into Starfield, sir? What's going on here?
I made it to I can't even remember the name of the place. It's just you make it to that planet, and after you get your ship, you go to the main headquarters place at the
New Atlantis.
Yeah, that was it. New Atlantis, whatever the heck the name of that place is. I made it there. I found something online about being able to steal one of the spacesuits in the basement. I went and did that shit immediately.
I held back, man. I held back. Look, I'm seeing all these tips, infinite glitches for credits and all this stuff, and I'm kind of like,
I'm not doing all that, but I got my spacesuit for damn sure. Yeah. But outside of that, the whole game in itself, obviously, beautiful game. When I'm sitting in space, I'm kind of hating it because I have the same problem that I have with every other space travel game. You feel like you're traveling for way too long. Thank God for fast travel. Even if you haven't been to the planet yet, if you know where it's at, you can jump.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's pretty good, though. I feel like there is combat in space, which is kind of funny because people online have made an L-shaped ship, so the enemies don't hit you. I'm like, okay, reasonable. That's pretty. So all this stuff, I'm very much, as far as Western RPGs go, I'm like, I'm going to just play my own path. If I go back to it and try to platy it or, get all the achievements in this case, I'm going to do all the glitches, everything possible. But for now, I'm not going to steal any suits unless it's, I feel like it kind of thing. But
this one you get no repercussions, and it just gives you a boost. You don't
tell me that, Dalan. Don't tell me that.
I say just go steal that suit and don't steal any other suits. That's it. But as for the gameplay itself, when it comes to the part that I had not exactly an issue with, but it was not what I expected, was the fighting, because it's Skyrim with guns. That's all it is. Skyrim with guns.
Well, did you play Fallout, Dalan? I mean, Fallout. Come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah, well, Fallout, you have the VAT system and stuff like that. You can stop time and aim at body parts.
Which you don't. There's no VAT. I miss VAT so much, man. I know it's loaded down and it's kind of cheap because in the VAT system, you'd see like the corner of their foot or the corner of their head, and you're crit shotting from the corner. I understand that, but I like VATs. I like the VAT system.
Yeah, but in this one, the reason I say Skyrim is because you don't get like sneak bonuses, like, or at least not too much of it. But I'm out here just sneaking up on every enemy. Very first firefight I got into, where they land and they're surrounded the whole platform, I just ran behind them and murdered them all one by one. Nobody shot at me at that point. Their AI was terrible.
I mean, and you're there for the story, Dalan. You're there for the exploration. You're there for. But go ahead.
Todd Howard once again said, "Bear with us. It's new," and it's still like, man, you got some serious bugs here, but the game looks beautiful.
Yeah, and and for a game that runs at 30 frames, it's kind of like you could feel it a little bit, but it's still okay. It's still smooth, right? For 30. Yeah, for 30 frames, it's still pretty good. I didn't, like I said, I'm only like 45 minutes in, which from what I understand, you're only like about an hour in, dude. Are you studying for a test or what's going on here, man?
I've been playing a multitude of games. You saw my list.
I saw this. We'll get to it. We're going to get to that. Yeah.
All right, well, my last thing in this particular case is just from the amount of the game that I did play, I will say for the characters, this is one of the very few Bethesda games where the characters do not piss me off. I actually like these characters.
Okay, that's fair. I just want to say real quick, and then we'll kind of throw it to Dale, and you say whatever you want to say, Dale.
No,
but I know, Dalan, I agree with like the quick. I know, and I think I might have seen one of your tweets, Dale, where you were like, too many load screens. Like, I'm okay with that, man. I just fast travel me to the planet. Just fast travel me there. And I'm okay with that. And I mean, it seems like it loads quick enough. At least on Xbox, the SSD is pretty quick or whatever. But I kind of like all that. I was like, I haven't been there, and I can fast travel. Just give it to me. I'll do it. I know people online have been like, these planets don't go on forever and blah blah blah. I don't give a fuck, man. I'm just trying to get to the next firefight, to the next little conversation. Dude, I love the conversations in this game. The fact that you can skip line by line, and it's like, just give me more, because I can skip. I can read at my own pace. It's beautiful. So I'm just ready to no phrasing. I don't know what I was gonna say. I just want to keep going in this game. No phrasing. I'm just too hyped for it, man.
Phrasing, Mr. Relax, sir.
I'm too hyped for it, man. I'm too hyped for it. Dale, what do you got to you play? You're more. How far into it are you into it, Dale?
I think I'm at like hour 18, I believe.
Okay. Son of a monkey biscuit! You way deep.
And it's not. It's really. It's not all critical path though, right? Like you've been kind of.
He's like, I barely cracked the code. People beating this game in 3 hours. You're like 18. Let's go.
Well, from what I read, I listened to ACG reviews, and he said like critical path it to like a certain point, and then once that point happens, like free roam whatever you want to do. So I basically followed that because like. After a while, you get something, and you have to go do this quest line, and it's just like, wow, this opens up like a ton of stuff, like, and it's quite amazing how they do it. Even though they're super jank like all over the place. Going back to the load screen thing, I'm like half and half. Like I do want that immersion of like flying to a system and then like landing on a system like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen.
Like you're going through the atmosphere and all that stuff and landing.
That's like amazing. Like that's amazing. Like the first 30 times you do it, and then after a while it gets so like boring and messed up.
And it's repetitive.
And it's so repetitive that I'm just like, I'm glad that there's fast travel. So it's kind of like a balance thing or a design thing that Bethesda like left that out there. So I'm like,
I don't mind landing like Ratchet and Clank. That's the best loading screen ever.
I mean, that's okay. Yeah, but other than that, like the game is fun. Like the dialogue system is great. Normally, like 10 years ago, if you were to ask me to build a character in one of these games, I'd probably be like gunslinging all over the place. Like nothing with dialogue, no stealth, no like pickpocketing, nothing like that. This time around, I'm just like a persuasion asshole. Like that's me the entire time. Like,
I will talk you into opening this door every
the
single
dialogue's
time.
so good though. So
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to convince them. Like was like you don't need that money. Just give the credits over to me. You don't need that ship. Give it over to me. You know, all this stuff.
But I do like how even in the persuasion system, it's like gives you degrees on there, right? It's like if you say this, you're gonna go in this direction, unless you want to be a complete asshole.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But you only have so many tries to accomplish that.
Yeah.
And even when I fail, I think it's hilarious because like it's like you like some people only have like 6 tick boxes or something. You have to try to achieve to get the persuasion credit, right? And then even if I'm like at 0 persuasion ticks and I have like 1 chance left, I'm like fuck it. +6, let's go.
Let's go. We're either gonna end up in a firefight or they're gonna do what I told them. So dude, such a beautiful game, and I'm only like 45 minutes in, man. It's already like my jam. These are my type of games, right? This is the game. It probably might be a spoiler like game of the year. I'm gonna give everything else a fair shake as well, right? But
I don't think it's gonna win game of the year though. Definitely not.
Personally, I don't know in general. I'm already kind of seeing like. You know, they're gonna fucking Elden Ring it out. You know, they're gonna pick Elden Ring, and it's like, get out of here.
Elden Ring again?
Yeah, they're gonna do Elden Ring again. Whatever the Elden Ring of this year is gonna win it. That's
Baldur's
fine.
Gate. Baldur's Gate 3
I think so. I think that's probably
Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna get Game of the Year. That's it.
And I'll give that one a chance. That's on PS5. I don't know if it dropped already. It's kind of like a weird release type of thing, right?
What, Baldur's Gate 3 or what?
It's the same day that Starfield came out. Baldur's Gate 3 came
PS5. On PS5.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is out, and my homie Nick, he did the speed run for trying to be the fastest at getting laid immediately. But he didn't make it. He hit like 45 minutes. Somebody else has half an hour out there, but it's still funny.
I'm sure there's strats for it. Deo, anything else, man, on Starfield before we get to Luis's what he's been playing?
Yeah, like back to what Dalan said, like it's like a really pretty game. Like even though like the humans don't look very pretty, or you know, I mean, there's plenty.
They're not the best, but it's still better sprites than Fallout and Skyrim.
Like there are so many better character models out there from like Horizon, the Forbidden West game, or like the Guardians of the Galaxy game. Like the facial animations and everything, they look 10 times better than this game. But like when it comes to like the art of like the planets and like the architecture and the guns look really good. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty sweet. I got a lot of like Cyberpunk 2077 feelings while playing this though. So like it plays very similarly, like how the mission structures are. Same thing with dialogue. It looks really pretty, but there's just some jank that I'm just like,
Do you sneak up on those enemies and just shoot them from behind?
I tried that one time, and then like I don't know what it was. Like I think an alarm went off or something. I didn't kill this one guy, and so he like turned around, and I like panicked. I was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to turn around."
Wait, you feel all exposed. Like, wait, you're not supposed to see me right now.
Yeah, and I busted out like the cutlass. Like you get like a sword, like a.
I gotta get a katana. I heard that's really fun, man. I don't think I've gotten I'm still using my pea shooter.
Yeah. It's honestly kind of psycho. Like, why would you? Like, I know this one guy on Twitter. He's just going around with a knife, just knifing people. I was like, you're fucking psycho.
Excellent.
You're crazy.
Look, you did mention something real. I just want to mention it real quick, Dale. You mentioned Cyberpunk, and we're getting that DLC, man. We're still getting We're getting that DLC this year, not next year. We're getting it this year. We got a bunch of. And look, my brother loved it when you said it, and I've heard it before. But he's like, when Dale said we're gonna be eating well. He's fucking right. I feel him on that. We're gonna be eating well. So shout out to my brother Jonathan, who listens pretty regularly, and he said he loved when you threw that out there, Dale. It's like, oh, when Dale said we're eating well, it's true. It's true. We are definitely gonna be eating well. Luis, what have you been playing, man? You finally beat a raid, from what I understand, a Destiny raid. It's just taken 10 years, or how long has this game been out? 8-9 years, or however long. You finally did it.
I said something similar to while we were playing. I told Dalan something about a decade later.
There it is. What raid, Luis? Just to kind of set it up.
Vault of Glass, right?
Yeah, Vault
of Glass. It was Vault of Glass. Okay. What was your experience with Vault of Glass in this particular run?
Well, this was the one that we tried the first time. You, me, Carlos, and 2 other people, or 3 other people, actually. Yeah. And at one point, basically the first fighting encounter, that we didn't make it past that point, us 3. And at some point later on, we get past that point. We go a little bit further and past like these Gorgons. What
the Gorgons,
yeah, the Gorgons.
yeah. And we get we're starting to wait for like the rest of the crew to get past that section, and Dalan's like, wait, so you haven't seen anything past this door or something similar like that. I was like, no, dude, this door to me is new. Like I never saw this door.
All this is fresh to me. All this is fresh to me. Yeah.
But yeah, we were playing with the. I had to troubleshoot a bunch of stuff. Couldn't hear the fire team for a long ass time. That's beside the point. But we get to the point where I could finally hear him. We're starting to communicate, and there's this one kid that's like, he's doing the most damage. He's doing the most damage, but he's also like really weird and kind of an asshole, but not really. And we get to one point, he's like, all right, guys, this is my last one. I really have to go to sleep or something.
Yeah, that's when it happens.
So we try it. We lose. No, this gets even better. We lose that one. He's like, all right, sorry, guys, I got to go. So we're kind of hanging out for a bit. The other guys are trying to figure out, do we get this guy to come in? Dalan's like looking up to try to find someone. Yeah. Someone joins.
LFG.
Literally that next one, we beat the encounter. Like right after this kid.
That's how it works.
Everyone was confused too. We're like, wait, wasn't he the one dealing like the most damage? How did this happen? Like,
dude, that's kind of the beauty of Destiny, dude. It's always like, all right, guys, final run. I gotta go to sleep. It's 4 a.m. It's 4 a.m. This is the final run, and we do it on that one. Or, like you just mentioned, all right, this guy he got frustrated, he left, and then the person that comes in and you accomplish it. So it was you two and you LFG, all the rest of the people.
Yeah.
And this was just to give people context if they don't know. This is the very first raid that ever came out for Destiny. They've just brought it back into Destiny 2. But how did it feel, Lisa? What was that sense of accomplishment? I hope
it honestly didn't. I thought I would feel something different, and it didn't hit quite as what I thought it would be. But I think the reason being is because I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was going on. Dalan was just like, sit here and just shoot this guy when he comes out, and like we'll be fine. So like it wasn't necessarily the like what we were trying to do with the new one, which is like trying to figure it out, right? Oh wait, we got to do this. Let's do this strategy. Like that to me was fun. Yeah. But I knew we weren't gonna finish it that one run. Yeah.
Which we finished that one, Lisa. So whenever you're ready for that one, I feel, and that one's a little fresher. Yeah, so we got to do it together.
So I think that's it was more that I wasn't able, that I didn't like have a hand in trying to figure anything out, or like was there when something was figured out. Which Dalan, to his credit, he does do that when we're playing. He like kind of just sits back and doesn't say anything. He's like, let's see if they could figure it out. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think now that I've got one under my belt, I am kind of ready to get it.
There we go. You know what? And I think I think the suggestion for me would be like, if you do it again, try to do a different role. Do a different role, and like you kind of figure out like, oh, that's how they work. You these raids, to be honest, you do them 5 or 6 times before you're like, now I understand what that mechanic is. Now I'm getting what the, and I know it's really rough to say that because it's like. That's like 20 hours of playing the same thing over and over, right? Yeah. Like, but I think that's kind of what it takes. Maybe Deo. We get Deo into one of these raids one of these days. We got to get him in. Look, for me, the other thing that... Oh, did you... Go ahead, Dalan, if you kind of have something to add on that.
The only thing I was going to say in regards to the Vault of Glass thing is, for most of it, I just really wanted to get Luis through the raid. So I wanted to make sure I could take as much of the burden off of him as I could. Simply because I want him to see the whole thing. He saw the whole thing. He shot at Atheon and all that stuff. He got teleported to Mars and Venus.
Saw that health bar going down, ticking away. The damage phase. Come on, man. Can you die already?
Trying to kill that Templar multiple times was definitely frustrating. Trying to cheese the Templar, like that first damage encounter that he was talking about.
That was harder than the last fight.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like that. Yeah.
But it's, in order to do it, in order to cheese it, you have everybody jump off and die before you actually start the encounter, and then you have the guy with the shield go and stand in all the lights that show up so he can't teleport, and you've got one chance to kill Templar. You don't get 3 rounds, you got one chance. Because nobody's trying to deal with oracles and a shitload of ads. And for that, that's where you're really seeing that life bar drain. And most of the time, you got just to the edge. But Guardian left, got a new guy. Bam, we hit that last little piece. We got out.
But see, and you know what? You would think, Dale, if you're listening to this and you haven't played it, it's one of those things like, oh, that's got to be like, oh, sometimes the runs are smooth. They're never smooth. They are never smooth. They are always like, we just barely made it. This guy just barely. And maybe it's by design. Maybe it is by budget. It's like, look, we got to make them feel like they're fucking Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom and shit. And the boulder is coming and they just barely made it out. And that's kind of the sense you get a lot of times in the raids. Yeah.
That door is closing. Don't lose your hat. But I will say for Luis and in any future run that you decide to do in a raid, I will try and give you roles that will actually involve more, because that's really where the lackluster came in, is he didn't have some of the
they
roles.
put you, Luis, they put you on the one that is like he's not gonna mess up the mechanics too much. We'll put him there.
I was just on like ad clear, which I'm fine with, but I think it was more like just not figuring anything out, right? Like that's part of the fun of a raid, is like, or a dungeon even. We were like, what the fuck? Wait, something happened when I'm standing in the shadows, or like whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but we will have future endeavors if you're down for it.
There you go. Look, the other thing I played real quick before we get to Dalan's Gauntlet, we're going to put him on a literal timer. All right, there's going to be a timer. There's a couple games where we'll give him a little more time, but other than that, we're going to put him on a timer here. Other than that, I got reacquainted while I was on vacation. We only got a chance to play it maybe 2 or 3 times. But Mario Tennis N64 edition for that higher tier of Nintendo Online, me and my daughter actually got into. We finally found a game that we can kind of play competitively, and I can even say she like matches me at that game now. So it's kind of cool to have like a child that's like, oh wow, you're actually competing with me against, because anything else, I'm gonna beat her. I'm gonna destroy her, And she's not a competitive gamer like that. Her favorite game's The Sims, So the fact that
showed you Mario Kart, don't forget that.
She beat me at Mario Kart too, but I just had to practice at that one. This one was legitimate. Like, oh, she's doing like the heavy strikes, the power ups. Like, okay, so I kind of like the fact that over vacation we found a game that we can like kind of go back and forth on. Dalan, let's get to your Gauntlet. Well, actually, let's get to the games that we set aside: Sea of Stars, Ever Crisis Armor. Or do you want to do 60 seconds on everything, Dalan?
No. That first part of my list, very fast. That's why I put it first.
All right, hold on. Let me put the timer here. We promised the people here. Give me a second. All right, you got 60 seconds to talk to us about Monster Hunter Rise. All right, go.
All right, so I'm actually going to go through the whole thing pretty damn quick. I have been playing Monster Hunter Rise. I started that game. That game it's like DS ported to Xbox. I don't give a damn about the story at all. I just want to play with friends. Then I've been playing Killer Instinct. Yeah, see, there you go.
Let me give you another 60.
You don't need it.
One of these you're going to push it, Dalan. One of these you're going to push it. I already know. You got 54 seconds, by the way.
All right, Killer Instinct. I started playing the classic, the first version, and I did play the second version. Killer Instinct 2 or Killer Instinct Gold, whatever you want to call it, trash game. Don't even go back to it. It hurts to play that game. Like the graphics are terrible, the gameplay is terrible. They changed all the moves, but Killer Instinct Classic 1 still bomb.
That's on Super Nintendo, right?
It was originally on Super Nintendo, but they have it on the Xbox Game Pass, so you can play it for free. Okay. So if you're down to fight, I will always be down
online. Online, huh?
Online.
Okay. 15 seconds, by the way. Go ahead.
All right, golf with friends. I'm moving on to the next one.
Let me reset it. Okay, go ahead. 60 seconds.
Every single time.
Golf with friends.
Golf with friends. I've been playing with Ricky and a little group of people that he had going. Apparently, you can get like 8 people in golf with friends, but we've been playing and they've been getting drunk on the mic. And it's been like the wackiest thing ever.
What is it? Xbox PC crossplay?
No, this is Xbox. All these are Xbox. Ooh. All these are Xbox.
Yeah, okay. 8 players, huh? 8 players. Simultaneous. Everyone's taking their shots, kind of thing.
Simultaneous. Everybody's taking their shots. You're just trying to get to the last goal.
Pique my interest. 25 seconds, by the way. But it's piqued my interest.
Moving to the next one. I actually got a hold of Fist. Like that side-scrolling one with the rabbit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a cool game.
It's very large. It's actually a pretty large game. Super Metroidvania. I think the whole steampunk world that they have going on. what is it, 1884, 1886? I can't remember the name of that book, but it's got that whole thing going on. But
it's like a old Chinese mythology thing, Monkey of the West or East or something like that, right? I think.
Yeah. No, it's not like that.
No, okay. 26 seconds.
But it's more like it's Metroid, all right.
I did try that game. I have it actually. I've been meaning to get back to it, but at some point I looked up how long it takes to beat. I was like, I'm gonna step away from this, and I don't know.
That was actually me too.
Yeah, right. But it's kind of like, oh, this is gonna be a cool 5-6 hour adventure. I'm like, wait, what? It's 18 hours? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's got skill trees and everything. It's gonna take.
You ran out of time on that one, Dave, but I'll give you a couple seconds because we interrupted you. Yeah, 10 seconds.
After that, I played some Soul Hackers too. If you like the Persona games, or like what was it, Digital Devil Saga and stuff like that, this is actually just right in that wheelhouse. I completely missed it. Didn't know it existed. Definitely a good RPG.
How are you? Is it Game Pass, PS Plus, Plus Supreme? What's going on? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. These are all these are Game Pass.
Okay, you've been taking advantage. Yeah.
Cris Tales.
Let me give you another 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Cris Tales, I just went back to it. It's one of my friends, I think it was Jeremy Lowe, said it wasn't what I expected it to be, and he dropped the game. I went in, gave it a little more time. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this guy is talking about. This is a good ass RPG. Right. So I advise it for anybody who likes a very, what is the word I'm looking for? A new art style for a video game.
It's a pretty game. That's what
it is. A pretty game for its art style. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends art style RPG.
What's the gameplay like? Turn-based action? I don't know what kind of. Okay, it's turn on a grid kind of thing, or
no? It's like Final Fantasy games. It's old school RPG, but they have different mechanics in the game.
Okay.
So Sea of Stars, I will jump into that.
Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I have not gotten too far in the game because I had this issue with me and my wife playing Final Fantasy 16, where we didn't want to spoil it for each other. So she started playing it. I was letting her get further on, but she didn't get that far, and I didn't know it. And I completely surpassed her, and she got pissed. She was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not even going to play this game now. She just
I don't want it. Just knowing
that
got far.
And then at that point, we were just like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to have this issue again because she likes Sea of Stars. She's mainly playing it. She's deep in the game. And I mean deep. But even as far as I've gotten, they have little mini games. It plays just like Chrono Trigger / Xenogears. It is just an excellent, fun game with awesome art. Those people who wrote this game knew exactly what they were doing. I'll just give you an example because I played the demo before the actual game came out. There's a point where I left one of the towns and I was like, I just wanted to explore because I saw another place I could go to. It said, this place is not open yet because this is a demo. However, if you'd like to stand here and listen to the music, feel free. I was like, okay.
It's got nice little moments, huh? I'm
for got a little Trigon statue in the game. It's a crazy thing.
Sea of Stars, man. I'm ready. My body's ready. I did beat a Chrono Trigger on my phone like 2 months ago. I played through it completely on my phone. I was like, I like this game. I dig it. I understand why people are like, this is one of the best games of all time. I fully understand it. So
you're gonna feel the same way playing Sea of Stars. Okay. I guarantee.
All right. Wait, Dale, you've been playing that as well? You got a couple little thoughts on that, or
Sea of Stars?
Yeah.
Oh no, no. I want to though. I'm really excited that it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, man, Game Pass.
It's on Plus Supreme.
It's on Plus Supreme. It's also on PlayStation Plus. So like. Just go at that. But like I was trying to finish Persona 5, and then Starfield came out. So I was like,
that took over my life.
Look, Dalan's not on Twitter, but you put up as far as Persona, how many hours was it to get the Platy on the Persona?
200 hours or something.
No. Thankfully, I got it under 130.
Okay.
It should have been shorter because I had to go back to a previous save file because there's like a missable achievement, but you had to do it like 20 hours back into the game, and I was like, but I want to do it. I was like,
I want to platinum this game.
Dale, to feel like you're wasting your time for one bronze trophy, I think it was a bronze. Go play like what was it? Detroit. Go play Detroit, man. Go play Detroit. Go play, and you have to play a 5-hour like span and make all the right decisions up to like, okay, I have to turn off this light or something like that. Yeah.
Imagine me finishing the game and then like I was like, oh, I'm done with the game. I didn't realize it was like the not real ending. So in order to platinum, once you platinum the game or 100% the game, like you had to like go through like a real ending, and it's like an entirely separate game. In my point, like
the ending changed significantly.
It's completely different, and it's amazing. And I was like, wow, there's a whole other game after the game.
So they don't near Automata or whatever it is, and gotta play it 5 times. But it's different every time. But Dalen, no, it's just whack. Okay, it's just whack. All right, it's just whack.
Carlos, I'm upsetting you with.
You're upsetting me with this.
All right.
Dalen, 2 minutes, Dalen. Final Fantasy Ever Crisis on Android.
I started playing Final Fantasy Ever Crisis as soon as I found out it went live, and it's a gacha game. And I know some people said they could only play one gacha game at a time. I'm pretty sure I brought this up to
Luis. He can only play one.
Yeah. But really, the gacha part is just for weapons and cosmetic stuff for like characters' gear. For the most part, you can just run through the main story, and it's really just a faster version of the original RPG. So, Carlos, if you want to know the rest of the Final Fantasy VII story, this is a quick and easy way for you to be able to get through it.
Okay, interesting.
All right, it's very digestible that the way they do it. They still have a lot of moments where you can literally just run around like you're on the PS1 map. Like, it's the same thing, but with better sprites. And then the fighting has, they have their little, it's the phone button touch, like, it's a respawn.
I mean, I did Chrono Trigger, man. One of the best games of all time on a fucking touchscreen. I think.
But they don't give you like a menu of like attack, magic, or whatever it is. You have certain attacks that you could do that respawn at the bottom of your screen, and you just keep doing those different attacks in order to.
It's a free game, I guess, but that's kind of how they get you with the gacha stuff. Okay.
It is a free game. After a certain amount of chapters that you go through, it unlocks the other 2 games, which is Crisis Core. So you don't even need to play the remake. You can just do it.
30 seconds, Dalen. 30 seconds.
And you can play what's the name of the mobile one that came out recently that kind of failed and shut down. The First Soldier. You can get through the story there too. Those are the 3 games that are on it.
All right.
But I advise it if you want the story. If you want a gacha game, go play Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail.
Honkai Star Rail, huh? What else, Dalen? What else?
I, myself, have been enjoying the hell out of Remnant 2. All right? It is very much... I didn't realize it when I first got it, but it is a Demon Souls type game. You don't look... No. Hey, calm down. When you die, you don't lose.
I have like what is it, indigestion or undigestion? Like I'm having like acid reflux. I'm having acid reflux just thinking about that, man.
All right, look, it's not as difficult as the Demon Souls game, as any of the Demon Souls games, and you don't lose anything when you die. You just get sent back to a checkpoint, and you just have to go through it again. The only thing that makes it Demon Soulsy is that you dodge and you lose like stamina.
But it is co-op, right? We might kind of get down with it at some point.
It is co-op. I'm fully down to do it. I've been enjoying myself. I've been very much enjoying myself with it. I chose the subclass that gave me a little dog that traveled with me. That dog has saved my life.
3 seconds.
How many times at this point. So I said, play it. We should play it.
I said, play. All right, Dalen. We'll give you 2 minutes, man. 2 minutes for the last game.
The last one.
Jam on here.
The last one I've talked about a couple of times was Armored Core Fires of Rubicon, Armored Core 6. I've played most of the Armored Core games. There was a point where I stopped because of Silent Lion. After that, I was like, God damn it, Armored Core, fuck your bullshit. But I was like, you know what? It's been years. They're making a new one. Let me try it out. I will tell you right now, they took away the overheating issue. You still run out of ammo. You can still die, but your boost recharges, and you don't really run out of fuel, which is a good thing. But the learning curve for this game is steep. First fucking mission, I could not
steep.
Steep. First mission, I could not beat that boss. It got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm gonna put down the controller. I'm gonna come back to this game later and see if I can do it. Next 2 times I came back, still getting my ass beat by that boss. Once you beat the boss, that learning curve is gone.
I'm not playing this shit, man. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. All right.
It's just that first learning curve.
Yeah.
It's steep. All right, but those are the games that I've been playing, though. But if anybody wanted to try Armored Core Fires of Rubicon for the time being, at least in the next 30 days, I'm down to try it with you because at some point I will send.
Oh, it is co-op. That is co-opable as well.
Yes, it is. It is co-op.
This is interesting. Out of the gauntlet of games, Dalan, golf with friends. I gotta say, it's kind of piqued my interest. I've heard about it before, but it's piqued my interest. Yes.
Doesn't like the new Mario Golf game have that kind of feature where you just everyone plays at the same time? I swear to God, it has
something like that.
It does, where you get to golf and you run to the next ball. But in this particular case, you guys all do one hole at a time, but you all get to hit the ball at the same time. You could knock other people's golf balls off the course and fuck them up and have them have more strokes.
Well, and it's Game Pass, right? Everyone has the game. Everyone's gonna have the game.
Everyone has the game. Yeah. Even if they have the DLC, it's like Mario Kart. If one person has the DLC and they start they create it, everybody could be on that map.
All right. Hey, well, look, thank you for that gauntlet of titles, Dalan. We kept track. We kept you on a timer, so everything went smooth, as smooth as it could have gone. Go ahead.
It wasn't going to be as bad as you thought it was, so fuck your couch, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, there was a literal timer. There was a literal timer and countdown, Dalan. I mean, you know.
Fine. Yes, I wanted more time with Remnant too, but fuck your couch.
Carlos Macias, the master of what again, Dalan?
Relax.
Oh, damn. I messed it up. This whole time. Carlos Macias. Dalan Kirkwood from Up in the Mountains. Thank you for joining us and your gauntlet of recommendations, Dalan, as well. Dale Blas, the king of Mid-Bay. Thank you for joining us, sir. And Luis Mendez on the Wheels of Steel as well. Thank you, sir. We kept it kind of in line for being 3 weeks away off, and I thought we were going to go on for a while.
It was just a little longer than the last episode.
Just a little bit, and it was 3 weeks ago. So I hope you guys enjoyed. People, look, remember, subscribe, like, comment. If you comment, we'll throw you in here.
Hit the bell for notifications.
Hit the bell. And remember, the learning curve is steep.
The learning curve is steep.
All right, latest.